Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is quite a fun kind of reaction. It's a bit different, as I always say, to what I do usually see, but I've had this suggested a lot, and it's to do with US accents, and this one is 50 people, I can't speak, show us their accents, culturally speaking, and that's why the channel, but I guess there's going to be a person from every state speaking, and it's going to help me sort of gauge all the accents from US states, right? I mean, I sort of know a bit about the New York accent because of like movies, and it gets obviously enhanced, so it's probably not as strong as I sort of see in movies. But that's sort of like a sort of like an accent that I just sort of hear about. California, like California girls, especially who love their coffee. That's just one of those memes as well. But Texas, I mean, the typical sort of stereotypical Texas accents and like accents that like around that sort of area. But I mean, in terms of actual, because I know that's obviously a very small majority, but it's obviously the ones that is emphasized the most. But I'm intrigued to see, because maybe they will get the sort of the typical accents for each state, or they'll just find random people who speak just have accents that maybe aren't as familiar as I'm sort of thinking they are. But we're gonna see. I always find accents really like fun to learn about and just sort of intrigued to see the differences between states. But hopefully you guys are going to enjoy. Quick link to my Instagram, my Twitter, if you want to sort of interact with me. Links to those are in the description. We'll also link to my second channel. We're closing in on 10k, so I mean, I'd appreciate if you subscribe to that if you want to. But let's get into this. It's quite a short video, so I apologise for that, but without rambling too much, which is what I'm perfect at doing, let's just get into this.
I never thought I had an accent, but everyone else told me I did, so I never really understood.
See, this is sort of, for me, this is sort of like the typical American accent, one that I sort of think about when I just sort of think of America. But then to the Americans or people from the US watching this, they're probably thinking to me like, what are you saying?
My accent. But we say soda pop, and that was weird, I guess.
The great thing about Oklahoma is it's really this confluence of a whole bunch of different parts of the country. So the northern part of the state is really like the plains, so people kind of have that flat Iowa accent.
People always know I'm from the Midwest when I say bagel.
But if you get down south to the Little Dixie portion, it has a much more of a southern drawl.
Elongating those vowels a little bit.
And saying y'all every sentence.
How y'all doing today?
Y'all.
Y'all. I love the comments about this. People telling me that it's a thing that happens down south. It's like it's a thing that people say a lot. Y'all. That's how you refer to people. It's a guarantee when you go down to those states, like you just expect to sort of hear that sort of slang.
Want to go to Waffle House? Come on over. We'll go to Waffle House.
It's just like real round in your mouth, and you're just like, hey y'all, how we doing tonight?
And trust me, I know this isn't everyone from these states. It is sort of well, I can't think of the word, but it is sort of I guess these people are just sort of trying to live to the stereotype somehow. But
are you guys gonna go down to the game this weekend? I'm so excited. Like Joshua's
that's the Tennessee accent I was expecting. I'm not gonna
doing
lie.
real great this year.
Everybody talks really slow, especially compared to New Yorkers.
Most New Yorkers are loud. You gotta fit your way into a conversation
York.
most oftentimes when you're in New York.
Vermont's accent is very unique, and it's hard to slip into unless you're talking to another person who like grew up farming. But the phrase that I can say in my accent is always, "Oh sure, bud. Oh sure."
People from California kind of have like, they say like.
Colorado doesn't really have a
Like.
typical accent. Lots of people say that it has no accent,
Colorado.
but you'll definitely get called out
I don't know. I was speaking of the Colorado
if
meme.
you say Colorado. It's Colorado.
So I've been told from
wow.
people in New York that my state has an accent. Some people go Chicago. I don't think we do.
There's parts that I can hear like a little bit of a twang and kind of sound like this.
Some people in New Mexico have accents, depending on what part of the state you're from. People in the South tend to sound a little bit more like they could be from Texas.
Really wide syllables, really kind of drawn out phrases.
It's a little
She
sing-songy,
seems
like a
nervous
little
as
bit
hell.
Valley Girl almost. I'm from New Mexico, and I love eating burritos.
You want to go skiing up on mountain?
Pass me those taters.
I don't know, I mean, like, there's cowboys, you know, there's horses. I don't know, because I don't feel like I have an accent.
I went home a couple of years ago and was watching home video.
But that's how everyone feels. I don't feel like I've got an accent, but obviously to people watching this video, I do. But I guess anyone who has their accent doesn't think they have the accent right. But then someone else hears it and they're like, bro, I've never had that accent in my life. And you hear it and it's like, yeah, you do have an accent. But then to them, I have an accent. So it's just one of those things that it's perspectives, right?
Videos of my sister and I, and we had to like do a weather forecast as like little kids, and we'd be like, there's a big hurricane coming from the left coast, but don't worry because we don't know that it's coming. And people would be like, what are you saying?
I can
I
put
wonder
on
what
the,
Hawaii's like.
you gotta park the car and hop the yard and give the guy a quarter for some chowder.
That's not English. Wait, what?
You gotta park the car and hop the yard and give the guy a quarter for some chowder. That's a standard Boston accent.
Boston. I've never heard that in my life. She's speaking English.
You gotta park the car and hop the yard and give.
You gotta park the car. Is that what she said?
You gotta park the car and hop the yard and give the guy a quarter for some chowder.
Give it a quarter for some chowder.
Standard Boston accent right there.
Any ER would have an AH at the end.
It's kind of like Boston, but cooler and a bit more drunk. Like, we gotta go up to Baja to get some lobster supper.
My mom has this kind of
Australian to
strange,
me, that
half
one.
French Canadian, half Boston accent that sounds like peanut characters. Womp womp. Womp womp womp.
Well, if you're from North Dakota, you've got some long O's.
Oh yeah, you betcha.
You hang on to your R's a little too.
It gets a little bit thicker the older you are. Your grandma sounds a little bit like this. Your mom might be a little bit softer.
I'm from Wisconsin. Go pack,
Wisconsin.
go. It kind of gets like up here. Go pack. I say
Bag.
big. I have some eggs in a bag.
The best example of the Wyoming accent I feel like I've ever seen was in Brokeback Mountain. One curve in the road, and they missed it.
So if you live in Washington State, no one ever says they have an accent. They all think they speak pretty normal, which is kind of true.
Just kind of middle of the road. Sort of like Delaware itself.
But they also kind of have like a country hit kind of thing to them. So they'll say like, Worshington, like I'm gonna wash my hands, and you're like, worsh? What kind of a word?
We pronounce our T's as D's, so we say like Connecticut instead of Connecticut.
I feel like Michigan's typical accent is very nasally. Hi, like that type of vibe.
So if I'm from like Northside Kauai, I'm going to sound something like this.
People say that.
What the hell? See, that sounds so different. See, the cultural differences between these states is mad to me, man. It's absolutely mad. So interesting.
If I'm from like Northside Kauai, I'm going to sound something like this.
People
What the
say
hell?
that us Marylanders have accents, but I don't think we have an accent.
Oh, you do. You accent. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be pissing a lot of people off. The way she says she doesn't have an accent in such an accent is funny though.
Accents, but I don't think we have an accent.
Idaho doesn't have a really distinct accent.
There's no accent in Indiana.
This might be very biased, but I really don't think we have an accent.
I don't hear it, but I get reminded of it when I travel.
I mean, I think this is normal.
It's a perfect neutral Pacific Northwest tone. Sarah Palin does not have a typical Alaska accent. She's not really from there. She grew up in, I don't know, Kansas or something.
My husband laughs at me because I say wolf instead of wolf.
Our accents are all over the place.
The first one that comes to my head is a Latino one. Me voy a coger un cortadito.
And there's the St. Louis accent where we say certain things like quarters and water.
Where I'm from, they like to say...
I say water. Water. They say water. I'm like water. I was on water.
Water.
Where I'm from, they like to say Hena or Mayan. That shirt over there is Mayan. From Philly, they like to say wooder and yous guys. But in Pittsburgh, instead of yous guys, they say yins. What are yins doing?
North Carolina it's an interesting accent. It's just got a little bit of a drawl.
It's a little lazier.
Just very slow pace, very good, very nice.
He has to be putting that on. The way he used to speak is... Do they just speak slow? Like... He has to be putting that on.
Slow pace, very good, very nice.
I don't think he is.
In South Carolina, which is more like this. It's more smooth. It might have a daughter named Darcy.
And then you got the real squealy southern accent. And then you just got the very just, hey, how you doing? God bless. You have a good day now.
This is actually really fun. I mean, I really do like these sort of videos. But I know I've probably triggered a few people with my reactions to some of these. But I don't know, I just find it's really fun to see. Is a Texas girl okay, she kind of sounds like she's going to cry. 45 people saying they don't think they have an accent, 5 that clearly do. As a Texan, I can confirm every time we talk it sounds like we're on the brink of tears. This video needs more linguists and old people who actually have the accents. That's actually a good point, because I guess these people are younger, and obviously as the internet happens, I feel like the internet probably changes accents of states and countries. It's like, so that's actually a good point. Like older people from these states who have lived there for years, that would have been a lot more interesting. But still, I did enjoy this video. The Utah girl actually makes me want to visit Utah. That's crazy. Suggestion: rather than choosing the people to impersonate others in the state who have accents, choose people who actually have the accent. That's what I was thinking. It seemed a bit put on. Texas girl sounds like she's talking into a fan. People born in California, first words as a baby, like when I just think of California girls, like I'm just thinking of coffee and them just say like in the sort of lie. It's just that typical Starbucks girl. Why did the video about states' accents have to turn political? Shake my head. Well, I didn't actually notice that, not gonna lie. New Jersey absolutely has an accent. They just don't pick a good example of it. They pick the worst people to represent that state's accent. That's what I'm thinking. A lot of these just seemed put on. But I guess it's just to give me a little bit of a view on what the accents are like. But still, I wish it was just people from these places who have lived there for years. I don't know, but I mean, I enjoyed this still. And I mean, if you're from these states, firstly, sorry if I laugh at your state's accent. Just know these are fake accents. These people are putting them on. But now, honestly, when it just comes to accents, I find them fun. I mean, I feel like Americans looking at UK accents are the same. Like, they're just sort of intrigued, and it's just they find it so interesting because it is so crazy that all these different accents are in the world. Like, I don't get like why they become a thing. Does a certain bit of heat where you're from make your accent change a little bit? I know you're like a product of your environment, so if you live somewhere for a certain amount of time and the people around you have a certain accent, you're gonna sort of just naturally you're gonna have the same accent as them. But I just find it strange why that's the case. It's so interesting to me, but it is what it is, right? And if there's any better videos out there of these accents, let me know, because I could definitely see more of these. And maybe if there's one where the people are like this comment said, like people are older and they've actually lived in these places and they have the natural accents, suggest it in the comments and I'll be sure to do so. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Until next time, like, subscribe, peace.